Hi everyone. I'm here with Miss Ash. She is a teacher here at a special school on the Gold Coast. She's just going to introduce herself and talk a little bit about her job and the students she teaches.
Hello. So I've been teaching in a special school for about 5 years now. I work with students in grades 4 and 5, and there are 6 students in my class. In the class, all of the students have an intellectual disability. Some have physical impairment, and others have neurological disabilities as well, such as autism.
Okay, so question one. How do you, as a teacher, use data to inform decisions for planning and teaching a teaching cycle?
So on a whole school level, at the beginning of the teaching cycle, on our professional development days at the beginning of the year, all of the teachers come together with admin and we look at the data from the students last year, and we use that data to inform our next step teaching around where the students at. So specifically, we will look at the students, some of their assessment tools, and some students are on different plans. So these plans include an individual curriculum plan, which is when the students are on a significantly different level to their peers, and we assess them with the curriculum according to their needs by adapting and making new goals for them. And some other students are on a different year level or different year level partial plan, which is where they're just assessed on a criteria that's in a different year level to what they are. So yes, we'll use this data to create curriculum plans and create new goals for their new assessments for the next year.
Okay, question two. How do you, as a teacher, plan lessons to incorporate engaging teaching strategies?
So I'll use our whole school curriculum plan and look at the content that we're teaching and think about my students in how I can engage them during our weekly learning. From there, I will create my own day-to-day weekly plan to cater the needs of my students. So in our setting, I might think about sensory needs and having some sensory boxes, or we might incorporate some art related to the text that we're reading, or do some cooking as well. We will also use explicit instruction. So I do, we do, you do to create ownership of their own learning, and it keeps them more engaged. We'll also use other elements of explicit instruction such as perky pace just to get their attention and yeah, ensure that the content is as engaging as possible.
And what about music? I know when I was on one of my pracs, the younger students, they really enjoyed music during lesson time. What about your students?
Well, we find music a really good attention getter. Music therapy is often used with students that I engage with. So we might look at preferred interests. One of my students likes Bluey, others like Peppa Pig. So we might try and tie in theme songs from those shows to get the students' attention and engaged.
How do you, as a teacher, select and use a variety of assessment tools and practices, including feedback?
So at our school, we're required to complete some assessments. So one of this might be to do with the students' phonics knowledge. So we do a screener to check what sounds and letter names they know, and then this will dictate what phonics and literacy groups that they are in. To track this, we'll use other formative assessment tools. So we just mark off where the students are at and as they develop the skills. We also have tracking tools for the learning areas of the curriculum, same sort of thing, but we use this for maths, HPE, English. And using these tracking tools, we'll have a success criteria with the learning intentions explicitly displayed on our visible learning wall so that the students know exactly what's required of them and they can work towards meeting those goals. This is also a good opportunity to provide students with the feedback, and they can co-edit their work for that immediate feedback within the classroom. We also use some other assessment tools that cater to communication. So we use the DAG tool to mark off the students' communication skills, and also the Australian curriculum. We use the personal and social capabilities to track their personal and social skills.
Awesome. Okay, question 4. How do you, as a teacher, make judgments on the quality of student work and engage in moderation practices?
So what I was mentioning before about the individual curriculum plans or the different year level partial plans, from there we create a document for each of the students, and this has goals in it that directly align to the Australian curriculum. So we use this document to collect evidence of the student learning throughout the year. And our moderation process looks like collecting all the evidence we have, making anecdotal notes, and then meeting with other teachers throughout the school. We'll provide photo evidence, we'll provide work samples, and the teachers will have a look where we think that they're marked at that current point in time, provide feedback on what other evidence we could look for. Then we'll go away, we'll collect more evidence, give them a grade, and then we'll come together with our cluster of the same age level students, their teachers, and we'll again look at the evidence, make sure that we all agree on the same grade. If there's any differences, these will be moderated and look at how we can bump that student up, or possibly maybe that student just isn't meeting the grade that we originally gave them. Once we've finalized that, we'll make all our changes, and then we'll come together for a final meeting with our finalized evidence, and then that will go towards the student grade and show us any feedback on where they can go next. Yeah.
Last question. How do you, as a teacher, measure the impact that your teachings are having on your students' learning?
Well, I guess the first element of that is just through observation. So just witnessing the students apply that throughout the day. Also feedback from the families and potentially other teachers. It's really nice to have that personal feedback given. We also engage in data chats. So with our coach at the school, we will have a student marked on a criteria for their literacy, their communication, their personal and social skills, and we'll chat with the coach to talk about any changes that have been made, whether they've made improvements or they've stayed where they are. We can also work with others doing observations with colleagues, so they might come and watch us and give us feedback also. Every semester, we also create our own personal goals with our coach as well. And this is just where we want to see professional development on our own skills. So I set a SMART goal to have 50% of my class show increased comprehension of reading by the middle of the year. So when that time comes around, I will review if I've achieved that or not, and then if not, I'll go back and look at the strategies that I use to get there or what I can do further to achieve that goal. If there's any students at risk, this is when we'll put them forward for a data chat, and then we'll also evaluate what we can do further. This all aligns to our school improvement agenda. So we look at the data, we look at where we're trying to focus to make sure we're doing best teaching practice, and we'll discuss the percentage of the student achievement in our staff meetings, and also this might come up in school reviews that we have over the years.
Awesome. And just going back to the family things. When you speak to families, what kind of questions do you ask them, or what kind of comments and feedback do they give to you about their children?
So I will just comment on any highlights or new findings about the students. So just say one student was working on writing CVC, high frequency words. I will share that success with the family, and then they will often tell me, oh yeah, I've seen that happen at home. And then I'll know their learning at school is being applied at home. We also have opportunities for our P&C to come into the school, and during this time they may share success stories from home. So I had a student's family say, whatever he's been doing in phonics instruction, we've seen a big improvement in his reading and writing. So then, yeah, we know there's success in our teaching strategies.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Miss Ash. That was awesome, and the answers you gave me were really, really good. So thank you so much for taking your time during your school holidays to answer these questions for me.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you. Bye.